I think we're okay, Robert.
Okay. Great. All right, good evening. And if you could make me a host, India, that'd be great whenever I pop in. Stop video. All right, we're calling the meeting to order at 6:35 on the dot. Welcome. Is Counselor Oliver? We have all members present with the exception of Counselor Oliver, and I believe he's in transit, so he'll hop on. So he will join shortly. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, staff and CBLT. Good evening, Mr. Town Manager. Good evening, Council. Thank you, Clerk of Council, for putting this item on the agenda, the 2025-2035, the action on the Economic Development Trust. This is actually a duplicate item that is on for tomorrow's meeting, and so we will skip that and address it tomorrow. So we have some time to react to the comments that were made yesterday from council members and the public. Any objections to that? Hearing none, moving right into the next item, discussion and possible action regarding the fiscal year 2026 budget for council deliberations. This is part 2. Just a recap from yesterday, we did essentially arrive at a consensus to have staff put together a scenario based on a 3.9% overall tax increase, with roughly a 35.61 mill rate. And there was some to-dos that the town manager and staff had to do to find a reduction of up to $1.8 million total, roughly, from the proposed town manager's budget. And so today, the staff are going to talk to those points, present us their recommendations on what to reduce. Our job here on the dais is to fold those recommendations in, make our own, and arrive at a mill rate and tax percentage as charged to us by the charter. With that, I will hand it over to you, sir. Good evening. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, staff, and our wonderful citizens of Bloomfield. Madam Mayor, before I begin, I'm just going to take the opportunity to just speak a few words. It'll take a few minutes, but I would appreciate your patience and understanding, as well as the council, because what I have to say is very critical to me as a leader. I wanted to start this evening by sharing with you a recent exercise I did with my community building leadership team about a week and a half ago. I shared an article on mindfulness in a group distribution email and asked each of them to reply all with a statement from the article that most resonated with them. Each of the responses were extraordinary. Responses included, mindful people have more emotional awareness, are more understanding, and cope better in frustrating situations. Mindfulness allows us to experience the life that comes from victory in our minds. It enables us to approach our work as leaders, envisioning a bigger and better future. Mindfulness trains the mind to stay present, improving focus and concentration, reducing distractions, and increasing productivity. Our mind is a battlefield where the war for our emotions, purpose, and fulfillment in life is either won or lost. I wanted everyone to have a glimpse into the culture that exists within Team Bloomfield I have been building upon since my arrival last May. I have the honor of leading a group of dedicated, competent, thoughtful professionals who are guided by our principles of respect, sense of purpose, and accountability. Shortly upon my arrival, I learned Bloomfield no longer participated in the United Way to give back to our community. I set a lofty goal of having 100% participation throughout the town. Although we didn't hit my goal of 100%, I am proud of the fact we did reach 90% of all Bloomfield employees giving back to the community. I would say that amount of charitable participation probably surpasses every employer with an over 150 employee count in the state of Connecticut. I share these stories so it will be known that the leaders of Team Bloomfield, known as the CBLT, answer the call in many ways every day. They are beyond dedicated. I have employees who consistently give of their own time to serve the citizens of Bloomfield after hours and on weekends. I have employees who will return to work within 48 hours of a serious medical operation because they are committed to the fight. I have employees who endure personal sickness and show up on Zoom until they finally listen to my plea to rest. I have employees who suffer loss and heartache and drive on, committed to the mission of serving our citizens. So when I hear their quality of life being casually dismissed to their faces as if they are expendable and invisible commodities, I can't begin to tell you how disappointing that is to me as a town manager of Bloomfield. To have a counselor state he desires a freeze on non-union employees, I don't, still quote, I don't believe we should have any increases going into next year. That money could be best spent in other places to get 3 other maintainers. My thought is, why is the back of salary employees have to be stepped on to achieve goal? We literally have a suggestion to not give a raise to over 50 people who have already proven themselves to the town so that 3 people can be hired. That type of commentary is beyond illogical to me and demoralizing to my team. As a seasoned leader who has served in over 31 leadership positions throughout my lifetime, I have never heard such a thought in my many experiences in and out of uniform. We have a saying in the Army that is mission first, people always. That means although the mission is paramount and the priority, we never forget our most critical resource to accomplishing the mission is our people. I know there exists a narrative that salary employees are beyond what some people believe they're worth to be. Anyone who subscribes to that narrative simply has not spent any time around the leaders and non-union employees of Team Bloomfield. I will go further and say the narrative is false. Of the top 20 paid salaries within the town of Bloomfield in 2024, 14 were union employees and they occupied the top 6 slots. Tonight, I will place before you a budget that includes no raise for all CBLT members and non-union employees. This is a savings of approximately $190,000 or about 8% of 1 mil. My team will honorably do their part to ensure the success of the town by sacrificing their wage increases they have more than earned. I simply ask that you treat them with the respect they are due when you talk about adversely impacting their lives. They are like everyone watching this evening. They are mothers, fathers, wives, husbands, sons, daughters, etc., who happen to work for the town of Bloomfield. The privilege is mine to have them in our fold. I ask that you please recognize the privilege is yours to have them work for you through me. I entered this role as a leader of immense capabilities. I would not be worth my lapel pin I place on my jacket every day to remind me of the standard of my duty bound to live my life by, that I am duty bound to live my life by. It is my duty to stand up for my people, and I hope the way they were spoken about yesterday will never repeat itself. So with that, Madam Mayor, we achieved goal, and we set out, and we were asked to do something, and I can tell you, Mr. Hill, Ms. Stewart, myself, making contacts with a number of people throughout the CBLT today. We dig down on every line item in that budget book, down to, Chief, tell me if I'm wrong, down to like eliminating $60 for membership to some cause that, you know, I know is beneficial to you, but we just can't afford it. All right, so we were down to that type of nitty-gritty nuances to achieve goal, and we did. And how we did that, we impacted a number of areas, and I'll go through those areas right now. And most of these areas, they impact a combination of departments. Some of them are very specific, and some of them are a combination. As I had stated before, thank you, sir. As I had stated before, the first category is there will be no cost of living and no merit for management, non-union of the town. That's $190,983 savings. We will forego the hiring of 2 full-times that were included in the budget. That was the maintainer and the accountant. We anticipate library or savings from part-time from the library and strategic comms and government affairs of $84,000. We'll cut overtime by $103,800. Have payroll taxes reduced by $15,704. Retirement reduced by $15,274. Other contractual, which is a number of items under that, reduced by $410,209. We reduced the town council contingency by $250,000. We will not purchase two police vehicles, which saves us $160,000, $284. I will make sure each one gets a copy of this, so please don't feel you have to copy these down. The weekend celebration, we are eliminating. Okay, I made this decision, and this was not an easy decision, but when I thought in terms of what would be most beneficial to our town, what resonated with me most was those who made the ultimate sacrifice. So under my plan here, we will continue to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice on Memorial Day, but every other type of celebration, whether it be concert on the green, whether it be lighting up a tree, whether it be Juneteenth, West Indian celebration, all those hard times calls for hard measures, we will not be prepared to fund in this budget. Okay, and also farmers market, we will not be funding in this budget. Employee health insurance will be reduced by $330,395. Education and training throughout the town will be reduced by $76,868. Advertisement will be reduced by $49,715. If we can get a copy to the council so they can see this when we begin deliberations, I'd appreciate it. Tech equipment will be reduced by $25,640. Food and meals will be reduced by $25,640. $25,800. Office supplies will be reduced by $21,250. Travel will be reduced by $13,850. Tech supplies will be reduced by $10,450. And uniforms and clothing, once again, multiple departments will be reduced by $10,200. And dues and subscriptions will be reduced by $4,900 for a total of $1,783,847 in reduction from the budget proposed. So what that equates to is a increase of the mill of 3.85, and the middle rate itself is that 34.27?
Right above 35.
35.59, sorry. Okay, so that's where we are. I'm happy to entertain your questions at this time between myself and Mr. Hill and our group of professionals here once again, giving up their time. I thank you all. We are prepared to answer your questions. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. And I know it wasn't easy to put this together. Something is kind of troubling to me, and I'm sure it troubled you when you said that some town councilor or councilors
Oh,
gave
no,
you.
it was one counselor, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you for the clarification, but made you feel as though your CBOT, that their quality of life was being dismissed. I highly doubt that is the case, but I think there may have been a backstory as it relates to segregating those people as to why they may have initiated conversation with you that they shouldn't get a raise.
That's not the case, ma'am. I'm talking about what was said yesterday during
Okay.
this hearing. That's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you for clarifying. So I'm not sure what comment that was. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it. I'll go back to the video to try to put the context together. But as it relates to zeros regarding just the non-union management, does that mean that the non-union rank and file will be receiving increases?
No, ma'am. This is a savings of $190,000, 983. There will be no raises for anyone unless they're unionized per contract.
So I think it bears doing a little deeper dive, that there may be a couple of different groups of people. When we look at the non-union, non-management, receiving zeros, they received across the board, everybody got a 1% June 1st, 2.5% July 1st. But then the non-union, non-management were not subject to, say, increases after that point. And I think that we have a small group of people that may not have been addressed, that maybe could have been. I don't know, I wasn't in the room of the conversations when those decisions were made. So I would ask, as you guys leave here this evening, to give a little consideration to identifying some of those people. Because I think that in fairness, I think folks that may have received, in addition to their 1 and 2%, they would understand their staff now receiving their just due, because they may have feel comfortable that they received a little extra in the previous budget year. So I would ask if you could maybe go back and ponder that. When we say equity, we want to just treat everybody the same, but then we have some people, I think, that I call in the gray area, and that's the non-union, non-management. So I don't know exactly what that looks like, but if we could kind of look at that, that may align to have some more equity for some who may be feeling like they're left out in the cold altogether. So I just wanted to point that out as maybe food for thought for you. I don't want to rehash to whoever made the comment. I'll go back, like I said, and read it. I can see how upset it has you. And I'm just going to leave that right there. I don't want to address it, but I do appreciate your passion behind your staff. I think everybody on this dais has passion behind the staff in Bloomfield and the amazing job that they do. Many, many people are over and above the call of duty. Now, honestly, we got some to dash out at 5, not 5:01, they're gonna be gone. But overarchingly, we have a very dedicated staff in Bloomfield across the board, and I've known many of them for many, many, many years. So I can attest to that, having been born and raised here and worked with many of them through my years here. So I won't ask any specifics about the rest of it. Thank you for thoughtfully trying to determine, for example, those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. If you had to look at 5 events and you had to narrow it down to 1, I understand why you made that choice. So also thank you for a little color around some of the decisions you made.
Thank you, Councilor Lloyd. I'm sure the staff is comforted by your words. Thank you and support.
Thank you. I do understand this is a very tough year. Police vehicles, I think we've tried to keep up every year with police vehicles. I think the fleet may be doing well. I could be wrong. I see some employee health insurance, but the main thing that's troubling me is the weekend celebrations. And that's because that's a direct hit on the residents. And so even with this 3%, we're asking the residents to burden paying more taxes, but we also are taking things out that they enjoy, like summer concerts on the Green, the West Indian. You want picketing, you think they're gonna picket Donald Trump? They're picketing Donald Trump? They'll be out in your front door, you get rid of those things that they enjoy. Thousands of people from across the state comes into Bloomfield for that West Indian celebration, for Juneteenth, and it's an economic driver for our restaurants and businesses who don't have much foot traffic in the center. And so I think it's kind of counterproductive to do it, and I would like for it to go back and dive deeper. I know it's gonna be painful. I know it may be painful, but I think that the residents should not have to burden being in the center and driving attention here. I know it's tough. I've been through all of the numbers. I've probably seen and asked the most questions out of everybody up here. I know it's a tough year, but I think that one right there is a gut punch to our residents, and I just can't support that weekend celebration. That's not gonna do that, because it's not only a gut punch to our residents, but to our small businesses that are trying to thrive in the center. And we bring the attention and foot traffic there, whether it's the Food Truck Festival, CEC Shred Day, what else? You have Celebrate Bloomfield, you're saying get rid of. A number of people rely on that, families, kids, and so I think we could go back and we can find $81,000. I know it's hard, and it may make some hours or make some people uncomfortable, but I think in these cuts, our residents should not feel double burdened because they're already feeling the burden of taxes. So I look forward to seeing what we put together. As it relates to the 1% across the board, I wholeheartedly agree with Councilor Lloyd. Nobody's saying that our staff isn't working and they're deserving of it. It's tough years. It's a tough budget. It's very tough, but it's very tough for Ms. Daphne, who can't pay her oil bill or her light bill and is 80-plus years old, still trying to thread and do some work because she got to pay for a roof to get done or she got to pay her mortgage. It's tough for my neighbors who want to see their roads paved and it's not done. It's tough for the superintendent who have kids who don't know where their next meal is going to come from, or, you know, their parents are struggling to make sure that they have the support that they need. It's tough for everybody. Everybody is taking the brunt, but I don't think that the residents of Bloomfield should take a double punch. And so some of these things on here I will support, some of them I won't. We'll get to it. At the end of the day, I think we'll get to a good number. And as my grandmother would say, if it's not okay at the end of the day, then it's not the end of the day. And I fundamentally believe that it's going to be done at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not going to spend too much time on the comments that you made, Town Manager, because obviously you're no stranger to making inappropriate comments and mischaracterizations of statements that are made, and that's exactly what happened. The statement that I made yesterday is exactly what you end up doing. So I am happy to see it here. As my fellow councilor said, Councilor McCleary, this is a very tough year. There's many different sacrifices that are being made. And one of them that I called for was for a salary freeze for all non-union employees. It wasn't a target. I didn't say these folks don't work hard, because in fact, in many different aspects, I'm these folks' biggest cheerleader. So to hear you mischaracterize my statements is a little disappointing, but this is something that you often do, so I'm no stranger to it. Moving on into the actual points, I think that there are some more creative ways in which we can find these cuts. I think that we need to look deeper into the town council as well as the town manager contingency, make some cuts there in order to fund that $81,000. It can be found. We traditionally have not spent, at least in the town council contingency, have not spent all the funds allocated into the contingency. We put $425,000, and from the information that I believe our finance director got to us, it looks like we have some room to move there, as well as the town manager contingency, to ensure that our residents aren't getting, as I think Councilor McCleary accurately described, as that second gut punch. You know, folks look forward to those weekend celebrations. It's a way for them to escape from whatever stresses are going on in their life, whatever responsibilities, they're able to enjoy themselves and have community with wholesome entertainment. So for us being able to provide that is a major priority of mine. So I'm gonna implore you, town manager, to look into at least those two places and reduce those. Well, the town council contingency has only been reduced by $250,000.
It's just the level of 50, well, at least 150.
Yeah, and I think we can reduce it a little bit more. But this is my time, of course, Councilor McCleary, so thank you. Of course, you'll be able to speak on that afterwards.
Sure will.
But I think, and I implore you to, because this is what this process is about. It's about collaboration. Luckily, which we haven't seen too much of anyway, if you would like to touch on that point. Collaboration, Councilor McCleary, if you may, please. Collaboration is very important for us to have. And this, Democrats, Republicans, all members of this board, I had the opportunity to watch the budget procedures from New Milford and the way that they spoke and collaborated on the budget. You would think that this is something out of a fairy tale book when you look at the way Bloomfield has been doing it, and more so my colleagues to my right. Nonetheless, to get back to the actual points here, I think there are some more creative ways that we can find to maintain certain community events that are very meaningful to Bloomfield. Thank you.
It's Counselor McCleary, and then
You know, I take some exceptions to saying that we haven't been open or transparent. Everybody can do the work, do the work, or have collaboration.
Thank you.
I have the floor. Thank you. You know, it's all good to be up here to try to be the martyr or play the victim, but you have the same opportunity to present proposals in a budget and dive deep into it. It's all good for sound bites. I said this last night. You are the one who are saying you want to see $200,000 more in cuts, but didn't even realize that if you do that, it was going to affect the motor vehicle. So learn the process before you accuse people of not trying to be collaborative. You know, last night I saw you receive I should put a FOI in for Mr. James Biffer's letter that he sent only to you. You talk about transparent. You always want to preach transparency when it's beneficial to you. Put a budget proposal forward. Go dive deep, put a budget proposal forward. Don't wait for the town manager to put out a proposal and say, this is that, and criticize. Put one forward like we did. Do the work. We spend, all of us up here, the Democrats and some Republicans. Councilor Waterhouse called, I have some questions. Hey, what is this? I have this question about this budget. She came up here today, I heard from her, to ask questions of the staff. Same thing with Councilor Merritt. Your mailbox and your budget book from last year is still in your mailbox. Do the work. Stop criticizing, be constructive. What are ideas? Stop throwing daggers and gut shots, trying to score political points. Get in the budget and make real solutions. Recommend real solutions. The only one I heard is council contingency. We decreased that, your one idea, which we all agree, by $250,000. We know that the federal government just decimated the public health department, is going to decimate public health department. We know the federal government is attacking the police department and all of their federal grants. We know they're coming after social services and senior services and food share. So when all of those organizations come into us and ask for money, we're going to say we have nothing in council contingency to try to ease the burden. You're the ones who just said, oh, the senior services shouldn't cut their budget for food and meals. Where do you think it's going to come from, Councilor Mahan? We don't know what the man in your party, who you probably voted for, is decimating this government. And you just digging. Put a proposal out. The proposal that you seen here, other than Councilor Merritt and Councilor Wardhouse, you had no ideas. All of the ideas that was already on the table, the 1%, the 2%, decreasing the council contingency from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're the only ones who you're emailing in a week, bogging up the town's manager's email, releasing privileged information from executive session and not focusing on the work and the budget. You get up here, you grandstand.
Thank you. I'm
Give
going to
me
go ahead
real
and
solutions.
take back the
Thank you.
floor. Thank you so much. We need just a 3-minute recess. Motion to recess. Thank you for moving it. Thank you. All in favor? One abstention. Okay.
Nay,
All right.
I vote against.
Are we invited?
So you just said
All right.
I just wanted to run through the numbers and scrap it.
Jeez, well, that was smart. Yes, thank you for your patience all. All right.
Scrap those numbers.
I know, that was important. All right, so I have this. All right, I will fumble through. Does anyone have the motion from yesterday? We're not back in session yet. We're trying, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe. We're getting there. We're getting there. All right. Motion to go back in session, moved by the mayor and seconded by everybody. We are back in session. All those in favor, hearing none.
Aye.
Excellent. Aye. We are back in session. All right, so we did some crunching. We, just for some background, yesterday, this body voted to establish a scenario of 3.99% tax increase with a mill of 35.61. So overall, the town manager and staff needed to identify those reductions in those numbers. And through their due diligence, they have identified those reductions as stated earlier today. We then asked, we were left with a 3.85% increase and asked for the delta between what we moved yesterday to what we did today. And we have roughly $120,000 variance in which which I'd like this body to consider restoring into the reduction side of the house and put that back into the town manager's budget in addition to prioritizing some of the weekend celebration items back as well. Are there any questions? Are we all on the same page with what I explained? Excellent.
I moved the budget.
We're getting there, Joe. So that's kind of where we are. So sorry if I explained that. So therefore, I will put the motion, I'm just gonna have a few little tools, so bear with me. I will put on the floor an overall tax increase of 3.98, giving that the mill of 35.64. The town operations is allocated 3.56. The Board of Education is unchanged from yesterday. And I believe those are the only items that have been amended since yesterday, as well as we are removing the 250,000 from council contingency to the Economic Development Trust and putting that back. Where's that going? It's getting reduced? We're not doing that. It's just gonna status quo from town manager's proposed. But the new town council contingency number is 150,000. Okay, thank you. Do I need to clean that up, Ms. Rogers? You got that covered in the motion? Before we move the motion, is there anything that I forgot, Finance Chair? Okay,
From the list. Can I see that list?
and I'll repeat myself before we move it. I did through the town manager, it's the allocation, so it doesn't really matter. All right, which is gone? No, they're gonna remain.
Okay, good.
Yeah. All right, so I'll stab, I'll take a stab at it again. I'm just gonna read it all.
For the public.
All right, so starting over again, sorry, guys. All right, so the motion is an overall tax increase for the town of Bloomfield, 3.98% at a mill of 35.64 with the 4-year phase-in for reval. The town operations, the town manager is a budget of 3.56%. The Board of Education is, for the purposes of the town manager budget, it's 1.68, but you add the additional 1% set aside with a total increase of 2.4%. We're moving from the fund balance, 3.75 million, to general operating budget. moving 4 million from fund balance to the Economic Development Trust Fund. We are supporting the budget modifications of one maintainer and the budget software. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, sorry. Okay, moved by Counselor McClary and Counselor Lloyd, seconded by Counselor Merritt. Discussion. Counselor McClary.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This was a long, arduous budget, and I want to thank my colleagues, Councilor Waterhouse, Councilor Merritt, Councilor Mahan, Deputy Mayor, the Mayor, Councilor Lloyd, Councilor Cooper, and Councilor Oliver. We may not all agree on the ingredients to the sausage, but at the end of the day, for the people of Bloomfield, we have to make sure whatever sausage is made, it is palatable to their taste. And not everybody is going to maybe like it, but we did our best job that we possibly can do, given the constraints of the ingredients that we had. There were some shortages and supply chain. There were some hiccups. There were some yelling at each other. There were some, I'm not talking to you, you're wrong. It was, you're asking too many questions, but ultimately, we did it all so that the people of Bloomfield would not have a significant impact in their day-to-day life. And I believe maintaining services was key at the levels that we're maintaining it. This budget does not hurt that, but also, as the Deputy Mayor says, it also plans so that this community can move. And it's important that this community moves, because we won't be able to do anything else, and people will not be able to have the quality of life and move into this community if we're not continuing moving. And so this budget, over the last two budgets that I participate, over the last 2 years, average increase total over the 2 years, 3%, which is right on with inflation. And I know some people will argue that the real financial number of inflation may be here or there, but we have been fiscally conservative. We've been mindful of the impact to the residents of Bloomfield. And I hope that you would come out to the annual meeting. Let us hear what you have to say. There will be another public hearing, April 15th, at the town council meeting for you to be able to give your feedback. Ultimately, if we hear something or see a surprise, we have to the first, Monday in May at India to change our minds, right? Based on facts. And so I'm proud of you all for digging in and doing what you believe was in the best interest of Bloomfield. Hopefully Bloomfield will understand that the job that we had this year was very, very tough, but we kept you at the forefront of it. So again, thank you to all my colleagues for this process. Thank God it's over.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can tell this was quite the effort because not every day I get complimented by Councilor McClary, so I got to take it while I can. Thank you, sir. You know, I've been through a few budgets at this point, and every year we always say this is such a tough budget. This was such a tough budget. No, but this one was really a very tough budget. There were, of course, competing interests. There were us trying to, of course, weigh everything that's going on in the world right now and how tumultuous things are with our responsibility to ensure that we are maintaining a certain level of services for our neighbors, while also not imposing too much of a burden on them at the same time. Arduous is a great word to put towards to describe the effort and this overall process. So, you know, I do also want to thank my colleagues for all the work that they've put in, whether we agreed or not, whether we still agree or not. You know, I do know that everyone's it seems like everyone's heart was in the right place. I want to thank our town staff, our Board of Education that worked very hard on this budget, our town manager who presented this budget and stood the whole time, and is still standing. You know, I can see all the effort that was put in that doesn't go unnoticed. Our residents also recognize that. I do still have one concern, and I'll leave it at that. Of course, you guys, I still stand with, I don't believe the $4 million from the fund balance should be moved without the Economic Development Trust Fund actually being a thing. Yeah, I know we're voting on that tomorrow, I believe is what I heard earlier in the meeting. So it's very tough for me to vote for a budget where money is allocated towards something where we don't know where this whether this thing is actually going to become an actual item. I just feel like that is a bit irresponsible. The other question that I have is, after these allocations that are in the proposal, what's going to be left in our fund balance?
We will be a little over the 15%.
Dollars?
15.3.
So it's
Millions.
almost,
15.4, 17 million, 477, 474, but that's a projection. It's not a hard number. You still have to go through audits, scrub the number. Sorry.
Council McClary?
Thank you,
just
Madam
to
Mayor. Sorry.
Clarify.
I believe it's going to be 15.4%. It's not going to be a hard number because you have to scrub it, and you can't get hard numbers without an audit. And so the projection is, I believe, is $17,477,474.
So,
Again, that is a projection
is
based
what
on
would be left in our fund balance.
15.4%,
An estimate of.
Above our policy.
above our 15%
Okay.
policy.
And this is coming from staff as well.
Yep.
This is not just our numbers. Counselors? Counselor Lloyd?
thank you. It bears reiterating. I thank you to, not disrespecting my counselors, but the staff has been digging in on this for well over 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. It's actually been months that they have been digging in, as well as at the board. So I do thank you for all your hard work, coming up with multiple scenarios. They've been working on this since last year, guys. So while we may have been really digging in for the last 5, 6 weeks, it's been months that they've been working on this, in addition to doing their daily duties and keeping this job or this town running. So that really needs to be exemplified so the public understands how much work goes into this. I do thank my council colleagues, all of you, for your myriad and your variety of ideas and thoughts that have come together to make this what we hope will pass as a successful recommendation to our town budget. It wasn't easy. It wasn't this arduous last year, and I'm going to buy a box of hair dye tomorrow. But I do thank you all for the learning experience and sincerity. I do. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for the public to weighing in, sticking with us. Come out April 15th and as well come out the first week of May, because we do desire and need your input. Thank you.
Counselor Waterhouse? Oh, I thought you had your hand. Counselor Cooper?
So, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say that I do want to also take this opportunity to thank everyone, certainly my fellow council people on the dais and the town staff for, everything they've done, and our town manager for his direction of the town staff. It wouldn't be right if we walked away this evening without thanking those people who have put in a lot of work. And also, not normally, but I want to thank Councilor McClary for waking me up and letting me know that he has, redone the figures. Being one of the newer councilors here, it's great. It's great to get into the work and actually do what needs to be done for the citizens of the town of Bloomfield. That is what we are here for at the core, and that is why everyone here that I know of ran to be on this council, to make it a better place to live, for their families and in turn for your families to our neighbors. And so with that, I'm going to yield my time and just say, reiterate, as Councilor Lloyd has said, come out April 15th and in May, and let's do this together. Thank you.
Counselor Oliver.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to thank the staff, the town manager, the council. I know everybody put a lot of work into this, late nights, frustration, lots of frustration, lots of talking, a lot of conversations. But, you know, this is my, still news, my first term. This is my second budget season. You know, I just want to, I don't really deal with the staff as much as I do deal with council, but, you know, you guys really helped me keep up to par on this, and this has been a learning curve, and this time around, it's been a lot easier. So I just want to tell you all, thank you also, and good job. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I want to definitely extend my thanks and congratulations to our staff and our town manager and to our council. It's already been stated, it's been tough, especially tonight when I was thinking no more town green activities. And so we've been able to go back and dig in and bring the most important features of our town back. It's been tough, but I'm very pleased with our mayor and our town council for sticking to it. And yes, there was some rumble in the jungle a little bit, but we got it done. So I'm thankful, and I will yield my time.
Thank you. As a point of order, we don't yield, folks. I just want to make sure that we know that, but I appreciate it. No, this is, anyone else before I wrap it up?
I want to say thank you to everyone, especially, oh, Donna's not here, but she was dealing with me and all of my questions earlier today. Daryl probably heard I was in the office a couple times. So thank you for everyone taking your time, and it is much appreciated. This budget was, it was tough. It was one of a kind. I would say it was definitely one of a kind. So thank you, and I would like to know exactly what is being reinstated for the weekend celebration.
The weekend celebration, I believe, at the very least, the 13,000 will be prioritized for the
Concerts on the
summer
Green?
concerts and West Indian Day celebration.
Okay.
The remainder of that 120 that we found with the delta of the 3.85 and the 3.99, in which we was consensus yesterday, that's going to be prioritized into the COLA for those that haven't received it for non-union.
Okay.
And then the remainder will be prioritized to the other weekend celebrations. So summer concerts back in state, then go to salaries, and then whatever's left goes to the remainder of the weekend celebrations line item. But unfortunately, I believe your farmer's market isn't going to be prioritized, but thank you for graciously giving that back. But there's hope because we have a year, we have a year. No, we don't have a year. We have a few months to figure it out. Okay?
Okay.
Counselor Merritt.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I feel very left out if I didn't say anything. So I want to thank everybody too, and I admire all of you for still being here at this time. But I guess you were worried about your raises, so I didn't blame you for saying it. Anyway, I think we took care of everything very well. I thought this is one of the easiest budgets I can remember.
He's seen many.
But I want to point out that this is not the final vote. That the final vote doesn't come until May, and it's also contingent on the 4 million. We have some language changes, so we can take it back out if we need it. So it's not really lost reserves. It's not a final thing. So, but it's necessary if we're going to move ahead with the center project. And but basically, so if anything shows up, we still have time for some corrections if there are in need before May. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. And as the author or the one who introduced the Economic Development Trust, I absolutely agree that we're going to fine tune that provision within the ordinance tomorrow, and the town attorney and team has been working on that language, which isn't far off. So before I move the question, I just want to really definitely want to thank our biggest community partner that gets half of our budget, and that is the Board of Education and our superintendent, our chairwoman, Lynette Easman, and all of your board members that are also elected and volunteers that crunched a little bit before we started crunching so they can get us their numbers. So Dr. Youngberg, she is in the room. You cannot see her on screen, but thank you for coming and partnering with us with a level of integrity and honesty and transparency that is just a breath of fresh air. So thank you so much for partnering, and I love the relationship that you have with the town manager, and we want to encourage that and keep that. Thank you so much to you and your team and your staff. Definitely want to thank our town manager, sir. You have done an excellent job juggling the challenges that are before you and everything that is, our subcommittee meetings, our calls, and our answers. So thank you so much for leading this process, sir, and you and your team. Definitely want to thank Mr. Hill, our CFO, for crunching those numbers and finding those nooks and crannies, sir, just right down to 5 minutes ago. So I absolutely, sorry, clap, 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 woohoo! I apologize. Thank you. Thank you, Colonel. So thank you to you and your team, our CFO, the CBLT team, for really digging in deep. Thank you. And to my counselors, I spelled that right. Thank you. And I know Joe, Counselor Merritt, it seems like we kind of got here in 2 days. This took months of us coming, subcommittee meetings in which you are a chair of. And I do want to shout out the finance subcommittee because you guys worked definitely overtime. Raise your hand if you're on the finance subcommittee, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And last but not least, our MVP of numbers and finance, Counselor McClary. Thank you, because you have crunched these numbers and cultivated a budget with equity, transparency, and you started last year when you knew this was coming down the pike. So I don't have an award of MVP, but I want to thank you for putting in that work on top of being a father, like we all are parents, but on top of having a day job, as we all do, but really living here for the last 3 months in town hall. So I definitely appreciate that. And all the Saturday caucuses from the Dems, I appreciate you. So thank you. And I hope I didn't miss anybody, but this is.
Thank you for your.
All right. And so as Councilor Merritt had mentioned, today, the purpose on the motion on the floor is to endorse a budget to adopt in May. And so there is public comments for the budget 2026 that'll be available for a line item in our agenda on the 15th of April. So please come and comment on the scenario that we are endorsing tonight. And then our annual meeting is when we formally adopt it per our charter, what we put on the floor today, with the exception of some tweaks. So we are back tomorrow for that vote. And we will, but we are finished with deliberations as of tonight. But we do have just one order of business tomorrow. Feel free to jump on remotely. It's okay. All right, with that, be April 15th, right? Tuesday, April 15th,
That's why I
because
was messing me up.
Monday's Passover. That's right, got it.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, and that is drafted on the building. With that, can I have a motion?
Nope, to-
We're moving the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Any abstentions? The mayor votes yay, the motion passes. Thank you all so very much. And is there a motion to adjourn? Any, second?
Second.
Okay. Moved by Counselor Loy, seconded by Counselor Oliver for the adjourn. Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience and your diligence. Have a wonderful night. Good night, Bloomfield.